What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Law After Dark. Tonight we begin at the very beginning of Leon Scott Kennedy, before he was a government agent, before he was the man who would knife fight a former mentor in the rain, before he became the quiet face of US anti-bioterror operations. Before all of that, he was just a kid who believed in justice. Leon was born in 1977, and while canon doesn't hand us pages of childhood detail, what it does show us is more telling than backstory ever could be. Leon enters this universe not as a soldier, not as a hardened operative, but as an idealist. He chooses law enforcement because he believes systems can protect people. That belief is important because the entire arc of his life is the systematic dismantling of that idea. By September of 1998, Leon has graduated from the academy and received his assignment to the Raccoon City Police Department. To him, this is a career beginning. To the audience, and to the wider Resident Evil timeline, it is the mouth of a grave. Raccoon City, at this point, is already infected. The T-virus outbreak triggered by the Arclay incident of Resident Evil has spread beyond containment. But Leon doesn't know that. All he knows is that his girlfriend has broken up with him the night before he's supposed to report for duty, and in a very human moment of emotional collapse, he drinks too much and oversleeps. That detail is tragic poetry. The worst night of his personal life saves him from arriving early enough to die with the rest of the department. When Leon finally drives into the city on September 29th, what he sees isn't chaos in progress, it's aftermath. The sky is dark, the streets are quiet, and the silence feels wrong. His first encounter at the gas station is not just a horror scene, it's a psychological fracture. The moment he sees a police officer eating a civilian, the world he trained for disappears. This isn't a criminal situation. This isn't a riot. It's biological collapse. When Leon pulls the trigger for the first time against a zombie, there's hesitation. You can hear it especially in the 2019 remake of Resident Evil 2. His voice cracks. He asks if the man can hear him. He still believes there might be a person left inside that body. That instinct to reach for humanity in something already lost becomes one of Leon's defining traits. He does not adapt by becoming colder immediately. He adapts by forcing himself to act despite caring. He crashes into Claire Redfield, another outsider entering a city already dead. Their separation at the burning wreckage is symbolic, two young people stepping into different corridors of the same nightmare. When Leon reaches the police station, he expects command structure, radios, officers, orders. Instead, he finds barricades made of office furniture and blood dried into the marble floors. The Umbrella Corporation influence over the city is invisible but everywhere. Chief Brian Irons has already begun his descent into madness, covering up corporate crimes while the city devours itself. Leon meets Marvin Branner, one of the last functioning remnants of authority in the building. Marvin does something subtle but monumental. He hands Leon responsibility, not just keys, responsibility. And when Marvin inevitably begins to turn, Leon is forced into a moral initiation. This is the first time he must shoot someone who was fully human in front of him. It's not framed as a heroic act, it's framed as necessity. And that distinction matters, because Leon's trauma isn't about killing monsters, it's about killing what used to be people. As Leon descends deeper into the station and eventually into the underground facilities, he begins uncovering the reality of Umbrella's experimentation. Files detailing viral research, human trials, weaponization protocols. The outbreak was not an accident born of chaos. It was a byproduct of corporate ambition. When Leon encounters the T-00 tyrant, commonly called Mr. X, he isn't just facing a monster. He's facing a corporate cleanup tool. The tyrant was deployed to eliminate witnesses and retrieve viral samples. It exists to erase evidence. Every footstep echoing through the RPD is a reminder that institutions protect themselves first. Leon spends hours hunted by something that cannot be reasoned with, cannot be negotiated with, and cannot be permanently stopped through conventional means. It forces him to think tactically, to conserve ammunition, to move instead of stand his ground. Survival becomes adaptation, not dominance. Then there's Ada Wong. Ada enters Leon's life at the exact moment his belief system is destabilizing. She presents herself as FBI, another institutional figure. But unlike the police department, she seems competent, composed, controlled. Leon is drawn to that stability. He opens up quickly, and that openness is not weakness. It's hunger for reassurance that the system still works somewhere. Ada, in reality, is a spy pursuing the G-virus for her own employers. But here's where things complicate. While she manipulates Leon operationally, she does not remain emotionally detached. Multiple times she saves him, when her mission would be easier without him. When she is shot during the confrontation with William Birkin and falls into the abyss, Leon's scream is raw. He had just started rebuilding trust in authority through her, and in one moment that trust collapses again. Ada's apparent death imprints on him deeply. The mixture of betrayal and affection becomes a pattern that repeats throughout his life. William Birkin himself represents another philosophical layer. After being shot by Umbrella operatives for attempting to sell the G-virus, he injects himself with his own creation. His mutation is progressive, each stage less human than the last. Leon witnesses that transformation from scientist to grotesque bioweapon. It's not just body horror, it's commentary. Ambition without ethics consumes itself. Throughout these encounters, Leon's primary concern shifts toward protecting Sherry Birkin. Protecting her isn't tactical necessity, it's emotional grounding. She is innocence in a collapsing city. Saving her gives his survival meaning. Without her, he's just another armed man trying to escape. With her, he becomes a protector. When the truth about the Nest laboratory surfaces, and Leon realizes the government intends to sterilize the city, something fundamental changes. The destruction of Raccoon City by missile strike is not just a tragic ending, it's a statement. Over 100,000 civilians erased to prevent further spread. Officially framed as containment, unofficially a cover-up. Leon survives, but survival carries weight. Survivor's guilt begins here. He leaves knowing thousands did not, and worse, knowing the system he once believed in sanctioned their deaths. This is the true death of rookie Leon, not the zombies, not the tyrant, the missile. Instead of being allowed to process this trauma, Leon is detained and quietly absorbed into federal custody. He knows too much. The government understands that someone who has seen both Umbrella's corruption and the missile strike authorization cannot simply walk away. The leverage is Sherry. Cooperate, and she will be protected. Refuse, and she disappears into classified containment. Leon chooses cooperation. This is not patriotism, it's sacrifice. He trades autonomy for someone else's safety. That decision shapes everything that follows. The years between 1998 and 2002 are formative. Leon undergoes intense federal training, transforming from academy graduate into specialized anti-bioterror operative. But the most important training is psychological suppression. He is not taught to heal, he is taught to function. His later sarcasm, the almost flippant tone during life-threatening situations, is not arrogance. It's compartmentalization. It's a mask over unresolved trauma. The government molds him into a weapon designed to confront outbreaks like Raccoon City before they spiral. And yet, ironically, they are also the same system that allowed Raccoon City to happen and then erased it. By the time Operation Javier occurs in South America alongside Jack Krauser, Leon is competent but still idealistic enough to believe the system can be navigated ethically. When support falters and political calculations override tactical necessity, Krauser interprets it as betrayal. Leon interprets it as complexity. That difference matters. It shows Leon still clings to the belief that institutions can be steered toward good if the right people are inside them. He becomes one of those people, but seeds of doubt are planted. The government will always prioritize control over transparency. Now we enter the phase of Leon's life where the training wheels are gone, the trauma has calcified, and the rookie who survived Raccoon City walks into a different kind of nightmare entirely. By 2004, Leon Scott Kennedy is no longer operating as a silenced witness or a developing agent. He is assigned directly under the authority of the President of the United States. This detail is critical because it reframes his position in the global biohazard landscape. He is not just reacting to outbreaks anymore, he is being deployed preemptively. And that deployment brings us to rural Spain and the events of Resident Evil 4, later reinterpreted with greater psychological weight in Resident Evil 4. The mission is simple on paper. Ashley Graham, the president's daughter, has been kidnapped. Intelligence traces her location to an isolated European village. But simplicity is an illusion. From the moment Leon arrives, something is wrong. The villagers do not behave like infected T-virus victims. They communicate, they coordinate, they retain fragments of identity. This is Leon's first exposure to Las Plagas, a parasitic organism predating Umbrella's viral research. Unlike the T-virus, which destroys neurological function and reanimates through brute mutation, Plagas integrates into the host's nervous system, allowing for external control while maintaining motor function and speech. This difference matters to Leon because it complicates morality. When he shoots a ganado, he is not killing an unthinking corpse. He is killing a controlled human being. The ethical weight is heavier. The cult controlling the region, Los Iluminados, is led by Osman Sadler. Sadler is not merely a madman seeking domination. He represents ideological extremism fused with biological control. His vision is not destruction for profit like Umbrella Corporation. His vision is conversion. Infection becomes communion. Parasitism becomes unity. This theological framing matters because it contrasts with Leon's worldview. Leon believes in individual agency. Sadler believes free will is weakness. Throughout the mission, Sadler attempts to psychologically destabilize Leon, repeatedly reminding him that he too has been infected with Plagas. Control is no longer theoretical. It is inside him. Ashley's role in this mission is often misread as purely escort mechanics, but narratively, she is a mirror of Sherry Birkin. Once again, Leon is tasked with protecting innocents weaponized by larger forces. Ashley is infected with Plagas not to kill her, but to use her as a vector into the White House. Sadler's plan is long-term geopolitical infection. Leon recognizes the pattern immediately because he has already witnessed what institutional corruption looks like from within. The difference now is that he is on the inside of power structures. If Ashley returns infected, global collapse begins at the executive level. Now we need to talk about Leon's personality shift between 1998 and 2004. In Spain, especially in the original 2005 release, Leon is sharper, more sarcastic, almost theatrically confident. His one-liners are constant. This is not a tonal accident. It reflects a man who has normalized horror to survive psychologically. The humor is armor. Compare this to the remake portrayal, where the cracks are more visible. Flashbacks to Raccoon City intrude. His tone is still confident, but it is heavier. The remake version of Leon feels like someone carrying 5 years of suppressed trauma, rather than someone who fully metabolized it. Both interpretations are canon reflections of the same man at different emotional transparency levels. Then there is Jack Krauser. Their reunion is not random. Krauser has aligned himself with Los Iluminados after losing faith in the US government during Operation Javier. Where Leon chose to operate within flawed systems, Krauser chose power outside them. Their knife fight is not simply choreography, it is ideological combat. Krauser accuses Leon of serving masters who discard soldiers when convenient. Leon counters not with blind loyalty, but with personal conviction. He does not fight for politicians, he fights for people caught in the crossfire. This is the clearest articulation of Leon's moral framework. He understands corruption exists. He chooses to stand between it and civilians anyway. When Leon ultimately kills Krauser, it is not triumphant. It is tragic inevitability. He eliminates a version of himself that could have existed had cynicism fully taken root. Ada Wong's return complicates everything further. She was supposed to be dead. Instead, she reappears as a covert operative, once again pursuing Plagas samples. Leon's reaction is layered. There is relief, anger, resignation, attraction. Ada operates in moral grey space. She works for shadow organizations that seek bioweapons for leverage, not eradication. Yet she repeatedly aids Leon at critical moments. Their relationship is built on mutual recognition. They understand each other's burdens. Neither fully trusts the other, yet neither can detach. When Ada ultimately escapes with the dominant Plaga sample, it reinforces the pattern established in Raccoon City. She is always adjacent to Leon's mission, never fully aligned, never fully opposed. She is the embodiment of ambiguity in a world that constantly demands black and white decisions. The biological horror of Las Plagas escalates throughout the castle and island segments. We see mutation types far more controlled than T-virus monstrosities. Garradors blind but hypersensitive to sound. Regenerators capable of near immortality without thermal targeting. These enemies represent evolution in bioweapon design. They are not accidents, they are engineered. Leon adapts tactically. He learns to exploit weaknesses. He removes his own Plaga's infection using a radiation device, symbolically reclaiming autonomy. That moment is significant. It is Leon rejecting imposed control physically and philosophically. When Leon confronts Sadler in the final battle, it is not merely about saving Ashley. It is about stopping ideological infection. Sadler's final mutation is grotesque, but narratively, it shows the cost of absolute control. The more he tries to dominate, the less human he becomes. Leon destroys him not with rage, but with steady resolve. After the mission, Ashley expresses gratitude and hints at emotional attachment. Leon gently redirects it. This is growth. In 1998, he attached quickly to Ada under crisis. In 2004, he maintains emotional boundaries. Trauma has taught him caution. By the end of the Spain mission, Leon has prevented a geopolitical catastrophe. Yet the victory is incomplete. Ada escapes with a sample. The cycle of bioweapon proliferation continues. Leon understands now that outbreaks are not isolated events. They are symptoms of an ongoing arms race. He returns to the United States not as a naive agent, but as someone aware that the war against bioorganic weapons is perpetual. This period solidifies Leon's identity. He is no longer the coerced rookie. He is no longer the trainee under evaluation. He is a fully realized field operative who operates based on personal moral code rather than blind institutional trust. He remains within the government, but he is not owned by it. That distinction becomes vital in the years ahead. By 2004, Leon is no longer a rookie. He is a fully trained US federal agent reporting directly to the President of the United States. He has spent 6 years in brutal training and Black Ops assignments following the fall of Raccoon City. He has learned counter-terror tactics, languages, infiltration, weapons mastery, and psychological resistance. The government did not just train him, they hardened him. They stripped away hesitation, but they did not strip away his conscience. That's important because Leon is not a cold operative. He is still the man who stayed behind in Raccoon City to save a little girl he barely knew. When the president's daughter, Ashley Graham, is kidnapped, Leon is assigned personally. This is not a coincidence. The president trusts him. Leon once saved his life during a prior bioterror incident. That trust becomes the foundation of Leon's position inside the highest levels of government. The intel suggests Ashley has been taken to a rural region in Spain, not by terrorists seeking ransom, but by a religious cult known as Los Iluminados. Leon arrives in a remote European village, expecting a standard retrieval mission. What he finds instead is something new. The villagers are hostile, but they are not zombies. They speak, they coordinate, they use tools, they worship a leader named Osmond Sadler, and they are infected not with the T-virus, but with something ancient, Las Plagas. Las Plagas is not viral, it is parasitic, a fossilized organism unearthed and revived. It integrates directly into the host's nervous system, granting control to a dominant Plaga. Sadler has achieved full dominance over the infected population. This is the first time Leon encounters a bioorganic threat that is intelligent and organized on a societal level. This is not chaos like Raccoon City. This is structure. This is faith weaponized. Early in the mission, Leon is captured and infected with a Plaga embryo. That detail changes everything. For the first time since Raccoon City, Leon is not just fighting infection. He is infected. The parasite begins attempting neural integration. He experiences dizziness, hallucinations, loss of motor control, and through this infection, he encounters a familiar ghost, Ada Wong. Ada's reappearance destabilizes Leon emotionally. The last time he saw her, she fell to her death in Raccoon City. Except she didn't. Ada is alive, and she is working under contract for a shadow organization seeking the dominant Plaga specimen. She aids Leon at critical moments, but her loyalty is never fully aligned. Their conversations are layered. Subtext, regret, attraction, distrust. Leon is no longer the naive cop who fell for her lies, but he still feels something, and Ada knows it. Leon locates Ashley and begins the long extraction process through the village, castle, and island stronghold. Along the way, he confronts three primary antagonists under Sadler's command. Torres Mendez, the village chief who embodies fanatic loyalty. Ramon Salazar, the aristocratic puppet who surrendered his ancestral castle to the cult. And Jack Krauser. Krauser is not just another enemy. He is Leon's former mentor from Operation Javier, the man who helped shape him into an operative. Krauser was presumed dead. Instead, he resurfaced as a mercenary aligned with Sadler, believing power through mutation is evolution. His confrontation with Leon is not just physical, it is ideological. Krauser believes governments are corrupt and weak. He believes strength justifies control. Leon believes power without humanity is corruption. Their knife fight in the ruins is one of the most personal battles in Leon's life. And when Leon kills Krauser, it is not victory. It is closure mixed with sorrow. Another piece of his past buried. As the infection progresses, Leon and Ashley require a surgical removal device built to eliminate the Plaga before it reaches maturation. The sequence is critical because it symbolizes Leon rejecting loss of autonomy. He refuses to become controlled. That is the core theme of Resident Evil 4: control, faith, autonomy. Leon destroys Sadler, prevents global Plaga deployment, and rescues Ashley. But the mission is not a clean triumph. Ada escapes with a dominant Plaga sample, though she deceives her employer by delivering a weaker variant. Even now, her motives remain layered. After 2004, Leon's legend solidifies globally. He is no longer just a survivor of Raccoon City. He is the agent who stopped a parasitic global threat. But each mission is taking a toll. He drinks more. He sleeps less. The jokes become sharper, but they are armor. By 2011, we enter the events of Resident Evil. Damnation. Leon is sent to the Eastern Slav Republic to investigate the use of BOWs in a civil war. He is ordered to withdraw when the US pulls support. He refuses. That refusal shows the core of Leon's morality. He does not abandon civilians. In this conflict, he encounters two modified lickers and a new Plaga strain integrated into combat armor. The war setting reinforces a disturbing evolution. Bioweapons are no longer secret experiments. They are battlefield commodities. Then, 2013, Resident Evil 6. The President of the United States, now revealed to be Adam Benford, plans to publicly disclose the truth about Raccoon City. Before he can, he is infected during a bioterror attack in Tall Oaks. Leon is forced to shoot the president to prevent spread. Let that sink in. The same government that coerced Leon into service. The same presidency he protected. He executes the commander-in-chief to stop another outbreak. That moment breaks something inside him. Throughout RE6, Leon partners with Helena Harper while pursuing the truth behind the C virus. The antagonist, Derek Simmons, orchestrated global chaos to preserve national stability through manipulation. Again, Leon confronts corruption at the highest levels. And again, he chooses exposure over silence. By the time we reach Resident Evil Vendetta, Leon is visibly exhausted. He is drinking heavily. He is isolated. He has survived too much. In Vendetta, he confronts Glenn Arias and a revenge-driven bioterror network targeting New York. His reunion with Chris Redfield is tense but cooperative. These two men represent different coping mechanisms. Chris externalizes rage, Leon internalizes guilt. And that brings us to the modern era. Resident Evil 4 was reimagined in 2023, deepening Leon's trauma and emphasizing his PTSD from Raccoon City and Operation Javier. The remake reframes him as a man haunted, not cocky. His conversations with Ashley are more grounded. His interactions with Ada are colder, more guarded. The knife fight with Krauser becomes symbolic of rejecting extremist ideology. The remake does not change canon events, but it deepens psychological context. Leon S. Kennedy's full arc is not about becoming stronger. It is about surviving without losing empathy. Every major incident in the Resident Evil timeline tests his autonomy. Infection, government coercion, emotional manipulation, political corruption, ideological betrayal. And every time, Leon chooses free will. He chooses to protect. That is why he endures. Now for everything from then until Resident Evil Requiem, after the events of Vendetta, Leon does not get rest. He returns to the United States physically intact, but emotionally frayed. His experiences in Raccoon City, Spain, the C virus outbreaks, and the battles in Eastern Europe have left deep scars. He drinks more than he should. He sleeps less than he needs. Every mission is a reminder that bioterror is not isolated. It is persistent, sprawling, and often sanctioned by people who claim to serve order. The government continues to deploy him directly under presidential orders to contain outbreaks and neutralize bioweapon threats globally. But each mission now comes with the bitter awareness that ethical compromise is inevitable. Every decision carries collateral cost, and every failure is political fodder. During this period, he maintains contact with Chris Redfield and other trusted operatives, creating an informal global anti-bioterror network that coordinates on intelligence and containment efforts while circumventing bureaucratic red tape. Wong continues to appear in shadows. He does not know the full scope of her operations, but he understands that her objectives intersect with his own only when necessary, and that she manipulates information and events behind the scenes. Leon has learned caution, restraint, and the weight of trust. He is no longer impulsive, no longer reliant on personal attachment to guide decisions, but he is also not detached. His humanity remains intact because he chooses to protect lives even when systems fail. In late 2017, Leon is briefed on intelligence suggesting an illegal BO lab outbreak inside the United States, a situation that will lead directly into the events of Resident Evil Requiem. He prepares to deploy alone, aware that this is just another chapter in a life defined by constant vigilance, moral ambiguity, and relentless confrontation with the consequences of bioterrorism. Every scar, every loss, every betrayal has shaped him into the operative we see in Requiem. Precise, calculating, but still human. His past informs every step. His experiences have taught him that survival is meaningless without purpose. And so he moves forward, carrying the lessons of decades of horror, ready to face the next outbreak with the same unwavering commitment to protect those who cannot protect themselves. And that brings us to the full story of Leon S. Kennedy. From his beginnings as a hopeful rookie walking into the chaos of Raccoon City, through his transformation into a precise federal operative, through every encounter with Umbrella, bioorganic weapons, parasitic cults, rogue agents, and global outbreaks. This is everything we know about him leading up to Resident Evil Requiem. Every mission, every loss, every ally and enemy has shaped the man he is today. A survivor who carries trauma, moral conviction, and relentless dedication to protecting lives in a world where horror is constant and control is never guaranteed. This is Leon Scott Kennedy in full.